Alright, it is officially 2022. 2021 was a terrible year, just overall. For my channel personally, it was kind of a weak year. I didn't really catch any major fish. I didn't really get that many views. But I mean, it stayed steady. It grew slowly, but it did grow. And when I did year in review videos in the past, it's been a few years since I've done them. But when I did do them in the past, it was always like a top 10 of my favorite catches or the biggest fish that I caught in that year. Like I said, I haven't done it in a couple of years. I wanted to do one this year, but I'm going to do it a little bit different because it was kind of a weak year. So instead of a top 10 list of my best moments, I figured I would let everybody out there know which YouTube channels I watch the most of. So I'm going to do a top 10 list of my most viewed channels that I spent the most time watching. Now, a disclaimer here, if I were to do a top 10 on fishing channels that I watch, it would probably be like a top 4 or 5 or something. I don't think I could even name 10 channels that I actually watch a lot that are strictly fishing. So this list is not going to be just fishing and not going to be just outdoors. It's going to be some of my other interests and stuff too. When I'm done with that, I'm going to go into my favorite video that I shot this year of, myself, and then talk about my most viewed video, what my biggest video was of the year. That might surprise you, looking at the research and stuff. It's not what I expected it to be. So, jumping right into it, I've got 4 honorable mentions before I get in my actual top 10 list because it was hard to narrow it down to just 10. My first honorable mention is Maritime Horrors, which is a channel that covers historic shipwrecks, like famous ships, ghost ships and stuff that wrecked and sank, and they do like mini documentaries on each one. Like, I'm fascinated by history and maritime history like this, shipwrecks and stuff. That sort of stuff fascinates me. So Maritime Horrors, they put in a ton of research on shipwrecks and stuff like that. They tell you the full story from when the ship was made till it sank, and they managed to do it in a pretty concise and timely manner. So you don't spend like a whole 3 hours watching this documentary. It's 10-15 minutes, and they cover everything, and it's great. So Maritime Horrors is my first honorable mention. Second honorable mention is a good old boy from Kentucky, Kendall Gray. If you're not familiar with his channel, you should be. He doesn't do a ton of fishing. He does do it every once in a while, but he doesn't really seem to like fishing very much. He's mostly a shooting sports, hunter, stuff like that. But he does everything outdoors, pretty much. He's got a survival bunker that he's been building, all kinds of crazy outdoor stuff. And he's also very family friendly. He's kind of a goofball. So, like, if you got small kids, he's one that you probably don't really have to worry too much about them watching. Third honorable mention is not an outdoors channel. It is Dead Meat. Mostly what I watch from them is their kill counts, where they go over and do a full breakdown of pretty much every horror movie ever made and count how many people were killed in them. But the main point of watching that for me is the reviews that they do of the videos and the breakdowns, because you'll learn a lot of stuff from behind the scenes. They always tell everybody to go out and watch the movie for yourself first, and their videos are not meant to be a substitute for watching the movies, but I don't really have time to sit around watching movies all the time. I don't have the attention span for it. And there's a lot of movies out there that I'm just not interested in watching for myself. But this channel will actually make them entertaining and interesting for me. So I will sit there and watch a 20-minute video about the worst movie ever made rather than watching the worst movie ever made. The main host's name is James A. Janice, and dude is hilarious. So if you haven't seen that, if you're into horror movies, check it out. It's called Dead Meat. It'll be down in the description. The fourth and final honorable mention is the multi-species man himself, Leo Shang. He is the king of multi-species fishing. Honestly, I can't really think of another YouTuber I watch at all that does what he does as far as like not catching bass pretty much. Everybody else I watch is just bass fishing. But Leo Shang just is completely different than the rest of them. If you're interested in the science part of, or the biology part of fishing, and learning about the specific fish that you're catching, the species and all that, Leo Shang is the man to go with. If you've watched my channel for a while, you've known I've done a couple of videos about his little tiny micro swim bait lure, EPF Swim. It's a 1-inch swim bait. That is the absolute best micro fishing lure I've ever used. If you're into that kind of stuff, if you like panfish, if you like small fish, if you like rare species of fish, pretty much anything other than just bass fishing, Leo's the man. Going into my actual top 10 list here. It's a little weird because it's my top 10 list and I just did some honorable mentions, but I have a tie for 10th place. One of these channels should be in the honorable mentions, but I just couldn't decide which one I watch more. So it's going to come down to Bama Bass, who I never watched his videos all that much before, but since he started that pond build series, it's fascinating. He can take something that should be really boring and make it interesting. He goes step by step, in depth of how he's building his pond, what he's doing, and it's really interesting. So if you've ever wanted to build a pond yourself, this is the channel to watch to see how it's done. Even if you're talking about doing like a small pond or something, this is a good place to get some tips. Not only that, but he's also on his farm, he's got a ton of animals, and it's really fascinating. You know, I'll show a clip of that right now, of the trail cameras and stuff that he has set up.
So this is a really cool video and one of the most interesting nighttime shots I've ever seen. If you can see up there in the top right of the sorghum, a coyote sneaking his way out towards the field, and there's 2 rabbits right at the edge of the sorghum, and there's a doe and 2 fawns down near the pond. So let's sit back and watch how this unfolds.
And as you see there, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. He names all of the animals and they all become like characters on his show, and it's just fun to follow it. The other one tied for 10th place is somebody you wouldn't really expect me to be watching, because the younger generation of all the young guys on YouTube that are fishing, I just don't have a whole lot in common with them. You know, but Fishing with Norm is just a really, really likable guy.
Oh, I got one. Got him. Dude, I got another one. Oh, he's a little bit better too, I think. Got him. There we go. Yep, I got one. Got him that time. Let's go, baby. So the time is here, guys. Fishing with Norm's 2022 rod and reel arsenal. Obviously, I'm gonna add and subtract later on going into the year, but as of now, this is like what I have going into the next year. So
I watch his channel. I watch most of his videos. He seems to be like a pretty genuine dude, generous guy. Now, Fishing with Norm does a lot of stuff to like support other fishermen. That's something not a lot of other guys do. Like he did a video where he traveled a couple of hours away from where he lives just to visit a fishing tackle vending machine that some kid started to support that kid. So, pretty good guy. He's just genuinely likable. Moving on to number 9 is somebody who's not quite as likable, but I relate with them a lot. I've actually featured one of his videos on my channel before, and that is AYO Fishing, AYO.
So last week I'm sitting on the toilet, like I like to do, and I come across an actual outboard boat motor on Amazon. I was pretty shocked that I came across a $300 actual outboard motor. Kind of looked like a weed whacker with a propeller.
Most people know him as being the former cameraman for Lojo and being on Lojo's podcast. But he's probably the fastest growing YouTube fisherman out there as far as like his channel goes. Like, it's just blowing up. He's also seems to be focused more on the preparation side to fishing, like restoration projects. Like, he keeps buying boats and restoring them, or with the plans to restore them, and stuff like that. So if you like the restoration videos and stuff like that from like some other channels, you might like AYO. Number 8 is another one you probably wouldn't really expect someone like me to be watching, but that is Braden Price.
boys and girls. Today's a big day because we are finally taking the Outlander out.
He's a younger guy. He's loud and obnoxious, and most of his channel is not even really, I mean, it's outdoors, but it's not fishing and it's not hunting for most of the year. He specializes in ATVs and off-road vehicles. So that's what the majority of his channel is about. But every year when hunting season comes around, he turns into a hardcore hunter. And like every video is just these giant bucks. And that's where it gets a little bit frustrating, because him and his buddies will be in the blind just yelling and horsing around and just making all kinds of noise, and then each one of them will shoot a massive buck. And then, you know, somebody like me will go out and spend 4 days in a deer blind and not even see a deer at all. So that's where it gets a little bit frustrating, just because, you know, he's living the life that I wish I could be living, which most of these guys actually are. So Braden Price, if you've never heard of him, you should check him out. Number 7 is another non-outdoors channel. In fact, this guy just doesn't seem to leave his house ever. If you're into heavy metal or guitar playing in general, you might know who this is. But it's Stevie T.
Oh, it couldn't resist. You know, I was just sitting at home like, you know, the year's been rough, but at least there's been no guitar fails, really. And this time we got Machine Gun Kelly live at the American Music Awards. You know, I do find it ironic that his new album title is Tickets to My Downfall. Turns out our tickets are front row. Not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping for the triumphant return of Machine Gun Karen.
Yeah, as you can see there, he's a major goofball. Very off the wall, very over the top, sometimes very cringy, but low key, I think he might be probably the best guitarist on YouTube as far as talent goes. Just nobody thinks of him as a great guitarist because he spends so much time being annoying. So, but Stevie T, I watched just about every one of his videos, and they're all pretty funny. Number 6 is a very niche channel. Most people have never even heard of it. Most people would not even be interested in it. But me personally, I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan and dinosaurs in general, stuff like that. And this channel is a guy named Clayton Fioriti.
The Jurassic Park franchise has historically been one that has gone through numerous different drafts of its films that would have resulted in incredibly different movies. Some of the more famous unused ideas include things like dinosaur-human hybrids and even a secret mission to infiltrate terrorists via the use of specially trained velociraptors. These ideas would, however, come from a place in the franchise before the invention of Jurassic World.
He is the absolute highest authority when it comes to Jurassic Park everything. He knows everything there is about the books, he knows everything there is to know about the movies, he knows everything there is to know about the video games, and pretty much anything that has dinosaurs in it, and a lot of other stuff, but he seems to be focused on the Jurassic Park universe. And he goes so in-depth on stuff that it makes me feel like I'm an expert just watching his videos. So if you like Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, or any of the old video games or new video games for it, stuff like Dino Crisis, just anything dinosaur related, even on the paleontology side of it all, this might be a good channel for it. Number 5 most watched channel for the year is, I've already mentioned his name at least once in reference to some of these other channels, but it is Lojo.
Got him?
Got one! Oh, big one! Oh, look at that fight! Oh, come on, buddy! That's a good size one, that's a good one. Oh, come here, buddy.
Hey guys, what is up?
For some reason, I think Lojo is just, to me, he's probably the one I relate to the most out of everybody associated with the Cooking Squad. He seems to be about my age. I think he's around my age. I don't think he's older. He's definitely not older than me. He's probably a year or two younger than me. And it seems like we're at the same maturity level, I guess. And you know, he's just the most relatable one there is to me, so I watch him more than most of the other Googans. Number 4 most watched channel of the year If you've watched my channel for a while, you've seen me wearing a shirt that says "Just put a thumb in it," and that's from Kentucky Ballistics. He's extremely knowledgeable about guns. He's a former law enforcement officer. I'm not sure if he was in the military, but he probably was. I don't know a whole lot about his background, but I have met him, and he's a genuinely nice guy, and he's very entertaining. And as far as the gun channels on YouTube go, he's probably the most family friendly. And he's also from Kentucky, just like Kendall Gray, which is another one I was mentioning about. Like, if you got small kids and they stumble onto his channel, you probably don't really have to worry about it. I'm a big fan of the tactical T-Rex stuff too, so here's a clip of one of those. There you go, Kentucky Ballistics, one of my favorites. Number 3 is heavily related to Kentucky Ballistics, and it's kind of a tie for 3rd place, even though it's really not, because it's 2 channels that are tied for 3rd place, but they're both the same guy. So, is it really a tie if it's the same guy? It's just 2 different channels. But it's Demolition Ranch and Off the Ranch. I watch both channels equally.
Welcome to Demolition Ranch. My name is Matt, and this episode is sponsored by my friends at Simply Safe.
Now, if you don't know who Demolition Ranch is, you probably haven't been on YouTube for very long. 10 million plus subscribers.
Hey, what's up, dude?
It's for my YouTube channel here.
Welcome.
Just to prove I'm here.
Go subscribe to Demolition Ranch.
You! And then we got
He doesn't even make videos.
He gains more subscribers in one day than I've gained in the 6 years I've been doing it. So
Like, subscribe to this channel that's on right now.
thank you.
And yeah, him and Kentucky Ballistics, both in that clip. And they're both genuinely nice guys. Pretty cool people. I actually probably watch Off the Ranch more than Demolition Ranch, but I watch basically everything he posts. Just because he's another genuinely likable guy. And I seem to relate a little bit better to his family-friendly channel on Off the Ranch, where he's just vlogging, talking about his everyday life. But he does a lot of fascinating stuff on there. Building a house, building muscle cars, building burnout cars, and just basically living his everyday life. Now, the number 2 most watched channel for me, once again, if you've seen my channel for a while, I've done a couple of videos where I was basically just ripping this guy off, and that's Marling Baits.
Dude, these things mostly eat zooplankton. I didn't know that. You would think such a gnarly looking fish would be eating smaller fish, but no, they eat zooplankton. Males do not participate in parental care at all, and they move between females after egg disposition. Huh. I don't know what that means.
There's just something fascinating and satisfying about watching someone do really intricate carving on wood like that. And it's something I would personally never be able to do in 1,000 years of trying. It seems like every time I try to carve something, I get worse and worse at it. So I'm just going to live vicariously through him. That, and he's just deadpan hilarious. Like, he'll say stuff with a completely straight face that is just ridiculous. And I love it. So, Marling Baits is number 2. Number 1 might surprise a few people, but if you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know there's only 2 pieces of merch that I wear from other YouTubers besides myself. One being the Kentucky Ballistics shirt, and the other being a beefcake hat. So that's Papa Beefcake himself, Andrew Flair.
Shoo! What's going on, folks? Shoo! What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Shoo! What's going on, folks? Shoo! Well, folks. Shoo! What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Shoo! What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Shoo! What's going on, ladies and gentlemen?
But Andrew Flair, I probably watch his channel more than anybody else's. And I'm not entirely sure why. Back when he was exclusively a fishing channel, when he first started out, when the Guggen Squad first started, I was kind of indifferent. Like, I watched his stuff, but it was kind of the same as everything else. And then he blew up and he's worked his ass off to get where he is now, and for some reason it's more fascinating to watch now. It's more entertaining to watch now when he's just feeding his animals and doing a daily vlog and not really doing anything. I can't even remember when the last time he went fishing was. But he does go hunting a lot, and that's something I'm starting to get into myself. So that's a major appeal to me too, is hunting. And he's just got a good chemistry with some of his other guys that work with him, like Banjo and those guys. So yeah, he can take a really boring subject and make it entertaining. Somebody going out and feeding a camel should not be as interesting as it is when he does it. So Andrew Flair is the #1 channel that I watched this year, or in 2021. Anyway, moving on to my favorite video that I've shot this year is pretty easy. I mean, when I think about the videos that I've done this year, there's only one that sticks out in my mind as far as it, like, just the first video I think of when I try to think of videos that I've done recently. And that is when I went hog and rabbit hunting. Okay, so did not have any luck earlier with the air gun hunt. Gee, stop. Did not have any luck with the air gun hunt earlier. So coming up here into this blind. Got me a hog. And that was just a really short clip of it. So if you go back and watch the full video, I had a lot of drone shots, I had music playing, I had a lot of fun making it and filming it, and I just really liked the way it came out. So that's my favorite video of the year. Is it my most viewed video? I mean, it's up there, but I wouldn't say it was #1. It's very hard for me to actually pick out which video is #1 as far as most views go, because a couple months back, YouTube went on this weird anti-outdoors tirade, and all of my shooting videos, even ones that didn't have guns in them, like I made a video building a gun cabinet, and I had to change the name of it because they said the word gun was not advertiser friendly, and they flagged it as inappropriate. And I actually got some strikes on my channel, and a lot of these videos got flagged, and they were being, like, YouTube was threatening to take them down if I didn't take them down. So I had to take them all down and eventually re-uploaded them and got everything squared away. Very frustrating. YouTube was claiming that in one of my videos where I bought an air rifle, and I shot a couple of cans with it. YouTube said I was doing two things in that video that were illegal. One, I was modifying firearms, and two, I was facilitating sales, which I was not doing either of those things, but even if I was, it did not matter because it's not a firearm, it's an air rifle. Whatever. I'm not going to get into that right now, but YouTube is pushing a liberal agenda, and from somebody who's anti-political, and I don't consider myself liberal or conservative, for me to say a company is out there pushing a liberal agenda, that really means something. For me to say that carries some weight. But anyway, I digress. All of my shooting videos got taken down, and I posted them onto my website just so I could have them there and still be out there where people watch them. In fact, they're still up there, and any shooting videos I do in the future will also be on there, just in case YouTube does this stuff again. But there was one video that seemed to be getting more views than everything else, and then YouTube took it down. And then now that I've re-uploaded it, it's probably only at like 600 views right now, but that's not counting everything it had before. So I don't know what the full count would be at, but as of right now, it's the #1 video, and that would be, for some reason, my scope camera review, where I had a camera mounted to an air rifle, and it's also the camera I used in the hog hunting video, which unfortunately I don't have the camera anymore because somebody broke into my house and stole it. along with everything else I own. But yeah, I'm gonna get another one. I'm actually trying to find something better, something a little more practical. But it was the Mega Orion scope camera. And for some reason, that's my #1 video for the year. I'm not entirely sure why. The Benjamin Prowler air rifle video is right up there, right behind it. I guess that gun, when I did the review on it, that gun was released, widely released at an affordable price. So people were looking it up, and that worked out for me. In fact, all of my air rifle videos and my hunting videos have done fairly well. But the scope camera video is just a little bit further out there ahead of them. Yeah, I think that'll be about it for now. I'm really excited for 2022. I hope it's going to be a much more productive year. I'm going to try to get out there and do a lot more. We're trying to do some more podcasts. We're probably going to be shooting one this week, hopefully, if Drew shows up. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for supporting me throughout all of 2021 and moving into 2022. I do have a join feature down on my channel here for all the cheapskates out there, for all the fans of Cheap Angler. But it's really not necessary. I can't keep up with the demand of my channel as it is, let alone put out special content just for a few extra people. So if you want to support me monetarily, there's a way to do that. There's other options you can do, but it's not necessary. Just watching my channel, being a subscriber, liking, commenting like you already do is beyond more than enough. So thank you everybody for watching, and here's the 2022, which my goal for the year is, I'm at about 4, how many subscribers do I have? Let me check that real quick. Thank you everyone for watching. Give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And we'll see you next time.